Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 278, Comedy Film Nerds.
It's an exciting episode. This. You know, we could have actually added the sound effect in if you wanted.
No, we can't afford that.
Yeah. You had to go Michael Winslow.
Yeah. Can you tell I just spent a week in Vegas?
Yeah. Did you do morning radio there too?
I should have.
Yeah.
I did the Valley View TV show.
Well, there you go.
Which was like, it's The View, but just a local version.
Sure.
And it was cool. It was set up through the PR department at Caesars Entertainment. And it's online. I posted it.
Oh, awesome.
So you can see I do 2 minutes of stand-up, and then I sit and do panel, and we talk about podcasting. It's
perfect.
It's great. In between, whatever they're like.
What's the weather like?
Yeah, dog, manicures for your dog, or whatever the rest of the,
Turn your lawn into rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Have a conversation with your cat, or whatever all of the daytime talking points.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've actually have a guest who's never been on the program before.
First time guest. CFN exclusive.
She brought her own sound effect.
Yeah, I could do the air horn. Pew, pew, pew. That's perfect, right? Right? I have it on my phone as well if anyone needs one. But
no, I don't want any digital sound effects on this episode. I want only horrible.
Horrible?
Yeah. I mean, wonderful.
Really great.
Ladies and gentlemen, co-host of the Indoor Kids and also the Meltdown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And ladies and gentlemen, Emily V. Gordon.
Hello. I don't know why I've been trying to perfect my air horn with my own face, making it with my own face. It's not working.
I think it's
very
great.
annoying.
I feel like I'm in a boat.
Yeah.
There's some sort of emergency.
Or in a rap song of some sort. A remix of a hip-hop song.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a hip-hop song about a boat emergency.
I would love that.
Or maybe...
That's a great idea.
All those sound effects are actual real.
Like, help! Pew, pew, pew. Everybody's like, oh, what a great remix.
Yeah, there's a fire on the boat. Get off.
Pew, pew. Help us. SOS, please. We're drowning. Pew, pew, pew. And everyone's just like dancing in the club to it. Like, R.I.P.
Get off the boat.
I think we have a sequel for Speed.
Oh, we do. SOS boat song. I'm going to drop that.
Song.
So what we're going to be talking about today, not only sound effects, Ant-Man, Trainwreck, Amy, Spy, and a couple really cool DVDs like The Guest, and some really interesting and horrifying movies coming out this weekend.
Yeah. Be cool. But I want to say this real quick. I do want to thank, there were some fans who came out to the wonderful shows at Improv and Harrah's in Las Vegas, had a good time with Gary Brightwell and Jessica Michelle Singleton. A lot of names for the MC. That was fun. Oh, and I want to say this. I went to the Cirque du Soleil Love, the Beatles show.
Yes.
Oh.
That is fantastic.
Did you go to like a matinee?
7:00 show.
Yeah.
Okay. Had you been to other ones? Have you been to other Cirque du
Yes,
Soleil? Okay.
I've been to O.
Okay.
And
Wow,
I was
that
at
was
the film
I went to
related
that one.
that was in the well, now it's called the Dolby, but that was
Yes, I went to that one too.
this one. If you're a fan of Beatles music, you have to see this.
Wow.
And if you don't like the Beatles, which I guess there's people who don't like, ice cream or the sun.
Sure.
Or America, even though they're British.
I'm going to just co-opt them. USA Beatles.
No, yeah, that's true.
Once they were on Ed Sullivan, they belong to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's visual poetry. It is just fantastic. It was an amazing show. And it is one of the more surreal experiences to see that show and literally my literally jaw was dropped. Like I was like, oh, it was hard. Sometimes I just would forget to clap because I was like, that was amazing. And then run across the strip from the Mirage to the Harrah's and then do my show.
You're like, I just need that microphone and I'll just talk into it.
I just almost felt embarrassed. Like, I'm just on the stage.
Yeah, you're not even on a wire.
Yeah, there's just white lights. There's no colored lighting.
There's no Beatles songs.
There's no Beatles songs.
I'm assuming. I haven't seen your entire act. But I'm assuming you don't have any Beatles songs.
Now, I was like, I needed a confetti machine.
Yes.
Lasers. Like, it is that show. If you have never been to a Cirque du Soleil show, you gotta see this. Like they're just unbelievable what they do. And
Those athletes are amazing. Like they are like tremendous dancers. I don't even know what to call them. They're tremendous.
They are a professional athletes.
And every casino has a different Cirque du Soleil show.
Yeah.
So like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we saw COD, like the MGM. That was really good too.
They're fantastic, and every Cirque du Soleil show has people like on ropes or like doing stuff where you're like, hey, careful, you know.
How many people in the audience do you think are there, like people for NASCAR races who are just waiting for something bad to happen?
Yeah.
Do you think that's happening a lot? I hope not a lot, because I feel like they've got it down. Like they don't mess up that often, right?
No.
Yeah,
They're pretty good at what they do.
it's so scary.
But it was,
They have some practice.
Yeah.
For sure.
it was. I mean. Like, obviously, if you're listening to this show, you like movies, so you like visual mediums. It is
Now, did they do the thing that they did in the, this is the first time I've ever been to a Cirque du Soleil show at CA where they did this. Like, the music envelops you, where not only is there music playing into the auditorium, every seat has speakers in it. So different sounds come out of there, and then they're happening at the same time as the outside.
They redesigned this entire theater for the show. I mean, it has the lighting. There's these two giant screens, so there's all this multimedia stuff.
Right.
They project stuff onto like.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's my jam in general.
Oh, it's like it was fantastic. Like,
and you wonder if we'll ever see some of that technology in movie theaters, like to the point where now we have Dolby Atmos, where you have speakers on the left, the right, the front, back, and also on the ceiling is speakers in the chairs coming.
What's that thing with the box that you can get at the
Xbox? Yeah, where it moves.
Yeah.
What
do they call it? Rumble box?
Or the Rumble chair.
Rumble chair or something. Yeah, I've not seen a movie there yet.
Yeah.
I've not. They had Mad Max there, and then they switched it back to Fast and Furious, which is fine. I like both movies, but like I'd much rather see Mad Max where I'm like moving around.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would see Mad Max again.
Oh, yeah.
If I could go in a fight chair.
In a fight chair.
Is that what we're calling it? We'll call it a fight chair. I don't know if that works, but I like
Fight
it.
chair.
Just fending off people the entire time.
Yeah.
It's a fight chair.
You fight for water.
Yeah, the movie theaters are looking for every single way to charge $5 more for the ticket.
True.
It's really, it's like, well, IMAX, okay, 3D, okay, now, all right, fight chair.
Yeah.
Now that's another 10.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Cool.
So see that show.
Well, should we get right into it? Should we talk about the Ant-Man?
All right.
Maybe I should go first on Ant-Man.
You go first.
Okay. I went and saw this yesterday with the family, and also Neil saw it, and there's a review online. He loved it. He thought it was really funny. I actually really enjoyed it. I was very skeptical of this movie at first, and when I watched this movie, I thought, okay, this is another time that Marvel kind of took a genre of film and then kind of put like a superhero in it. Like we've seen like the Thriller with
like a heist movie, thriller movie,
we've seen like
science fiction,
fantasy. We've seen all that. But this one, I didn't even feel like it was as much of a heist as it was like a throwback to like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like a Treasure Island or Swiss Family Robinson, where it was like more like a family film.
Wow,
but it actually had like a superhero in it that was part of the Marvel universe. Because there's no reason this movie needed to be PG-13. This was a PG movie. Like
really?
It was. There was very little violence. There's a little bit of language in it. You know, there's no sexual situations as they.
Ant-Man does not get it on.
Yeah, he does not. No, there's like one. You know, spoiler alert. There is one kiss in the movie. That's as far as it gets.
Doesn't shrink down and run through a lady's vagina.
No.
It's like one way to get in there, right?
Yeah. So, but it felt like that was like, it was a marketing thing. It really felt like, because a lot of times these movies, the rating becomes part of the marketing.
Yes.
Like if you have a PG rating, which it deserved in this film, and marketed as a family film, you would get less of the teenagers and everyone else wanting to go see it. So what you do is you add a couple of extra shits or, you know, people cursing. You get the PG-13 rating and use it as a marketing tool. When it really wasn't. It was more of a fun, funny, very light family film. But I thought it was really fun and funny. And but I didn't think it was like that darker part of the Marvel universe like Winter Soldier or anything like that was. So I did enjoy it for what it was.
That's a review I have not heard, by the way.
Yeah.
I've not heard anybody else talk about it as a family movie. I've read a lot of reviews of it. Have not heard that at all.
And the theater too was full of kids.
Okay.
And it was all different ages, and even my 10-year-old loved it and my 7-year-old loved it. And you could really tell that that's what this movie was more geared towards, a family audience. And because they're like, okay, well, now we can sell more merchandise, more toys. We'll fit it into the Marvel Universe. But really, now it's kind of dug itself into a hole a little bit, because now how do you add this family, lighter character into the darker movies with the Avengers stuff? That, you know, the best you can hope for now is, well, he's going to be the comic relief.
He'll be the
sidekick.
comic relief of all the movies.
So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. But I did like it. I thought it was fun, but it was a much lighter movie than the other ones.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Graham, a differing opinion.
Yes, it's a kids movie, and I was like, okay, I excused a lot of it, and the kids in the theater that I was at, these 9-year-old boys are like, oh, whoa, he's so tiny. Anytime that happened, anytime he shrank down, they were like, no way. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, it's good for them. But I felt, and I put this on Twitter, I felt like I was watching a Spy Kids film.
Oh, really?
Like, my complaint with it, now granted, they did some cool stuff with him shrinking. There were some funny jokes, I won't spoil them, when he did shrink down, where that was cool and that was funny. But all of my reservations from watching the trailer came true. I was like, yeah, just Paul Rudd. Mm-hmm. And I like Paul Rudd. I think he's funny, but I was just like, ah. And maybe, and in all fairness, maybe I've just never, when the Ant-Man comic came out when I was a kid, I was like,
okay.
I was never excited about the Ant-Man character either. Even in the Avengers, when he was a secondary character, I'm like, it's still not that interesting.
And to me, it didn't, the complaint I had was the thing, and we've talked about, as you said, the great thing about all the Marvel movies, the good ones, they are like, well, this is a war movie, and this is like you said. Mm-hmm. I felt like this wasn't. I felt like this was
didn't have a genre.
Paint by the numbers.
Interesting.
Oh, comic book. Like, I just felt like
you guys will watch it. That should be the slogan for most Marvel movies. You guys are going to watch it anyway. Come on in. Yeah, we're setting up something for 3 years from now. Don't worry, we've got you. We've got you.
No matter how nervous you are, you're still going to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if you don't like it, you're going to see the next one.
Yeah.
Which is true. I will.
I'm going to see all of them. Absolutely.
That's what I sort of felt like. It felt like, you know, and I was like, God, I wish Edgar Wright would have actually directed this instead of just contributing.
It would have been a different film. It would have been for sure.
And not that it can't be a kids movie, not that it has to be PG-13 or R or whatever, have more adult jokes. I just felt, it just all felt sort of like, oh, you got to put this in a comic book movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't, but I was like,
you felt like it was more by the numbers kind of thing.
Considering like how great Guardians of the Galaxy was and how much of a surprise that was.
Exactly. It was a surprise. And so now everything's got to be set up to be like, well, now it's got to be great. If it's like lesser known, it's going to have to be blow you out of the water, because no one expected that movie. When I heard about them, I was like, I don't care about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Same.
And now all I care about is the Guardians of the Galaxy. I have so many toys in my house right now that are from that movie. I was like, what are the odds that they're going to be able to do that twice? And the two directors I would have expected to be able to do that were James Gunn and Edgar Wright, and I got 1 out of 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I haven't seen it. I'm not in a rush to see it. I will see it. Not in a rush.
Yeah, I don't. But it was funny when I posted that Spy Kids joke online. All of these people disagreed with me.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
People on Twitter had like differing opinions. Wait, what Twitter are you on? That's so crazy.
I don't know. I was on the different one. I was on the alternate universe.
You were on the negative Twitter one?
I was. But usually, like, if I bag on a movie, a lot of fans of this show will many of them will agree. Not all the time, but I think most of them sounds like they sided with you, Chris.
Yeah, I have to say,
Pat Francis was like. Pat Francis goes, well, you're the only person that liked Kick-Ass 2. And I was like,
bringing up old shit.
You just publicly admitted you like Spy Kids. Yeah. So
that's right.
Now, to be fair to Spy Kids, that I saw this more as a movie like a Pixar movie where everyone can enjoy it, where Spy Kids was specifically made just for kids. Like I felt like this was more of a family film.
You went into it thinking of it as a Pixar film.
I went to it that way, and I'll tell you, one of the things that helped me go in looking at that is because I talked to you and Neil before I went to see it. So I kind of had them like, okay, well, I have a feeling I'm going to see this. Because one of the reasons I asked was to bring my youngest kid.
Right.
I was like, I want to make sure there's nothing crazy in it because, as we've talked about this before on the show, PG-13 is a very broad rating. There's a lot of things that can be in PG-13, and I have a feeling this movie,
the Dark Knight movies, should all have been rated R.
Of course.
I've had nightmares about stuff in those movies. There's no way.
And The Grudge, like that was really PG-13. The Ring, and this was one of those rare cases where they probably kind of fought to get to PG-13, where they probably, no, this is a PG movie. Well, we kind of like it to be PG-13.
Right.
So I kind of went into it knowing that, and I think that kind of helped me, let go of the fact that it's probably not going to be that edgy and it's going to be lighter and more fun. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it.
Right.
It was a lot of fun, and this is coming from someone who was never really on board with the character of Ant-Man.
Sure.
I never thought that was
Is anybody on board?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's like, such an Ant-Man fan.
I will say there was one part that was both fascinating and a little disturbing, and this is the beginning. This is not a spoiler. The technology to de-age actors has gotten so good now that it's almost frightening. Like when you look at Michael Douglas, you're like, well, is that footage from an older movie? And you realize, no, they're literally de-aging these characters because
creepy.
If you look at like how they did it to Jeff Bridges in like Tron 2, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. He still looked like a robot face.
Yeah.
But this one, it was like, wow, that really it's come a long way from there.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think it helps when we have actors that we've seen young, and like I keep thinking of Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button when they made him younger, and I was like, they're clearly using a movie he did. I thought a movie he did when he was like a younger man. He looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking like John Cusack maybe could have used that in some of the movies he's done recently. Like, because we know what he looked like when he was 16. He was an adorable young man.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the technology is, I don't know if they're using any of that as a template. So like, we need to get to this point. We need to get to Michael Douglas and Fatal Attraction point. Do you know what I mean?
That's a great question. And we have a lot of visual effects people that listen. So, email us. Let us know, like,
curious.
what's the reference point? Do you just kind of take the face and just make it younger, or do you like take that reference point of like, say, like, or Wall Street, like Michael
Wall
Douglas.
Street.
I want Michael Douglas in Wall Street.
Jam.
Yeah, make him that young and angry.
Emily just fist bumped to the heavens.
Saying a big ups to Jesus for him in that movie. Thanks, Jesus.
Big ups.
My question, I am going to see it. Does Paul Rudd have the gravitas of a superhero? He's very funny. He's very likable, very charming.
Well, no, and that's actually, but they played on that in the actual movie. Like, here's like, a small-time crook, and he doesn't have the presence or persona, the gravitas of the other actors.
Another thing I need to bring up.
I think I know what you're going to say.
They spend a lot of time in this story of Michael Douglas's daughter, played by
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah.
Right. Not wanting to use, like, Michael Douglas, like, we got to use Paul Rudd to, save the world. And she's like, I don't want to. So there's all this time wasted on that dumb argument. And
I mean, it's the movie. Obviously, he's going to do it at some point.
Yeah. Let's just get into it.
We've seen him in the suit in the trailer.
We know.
Yeah. Like, so that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my whole thing with the trailer and why I was like, again, I don't dislike Paul Rudd. I think he's funny and I like him in the right movie, but this was too, I refer to Tobey Maguire's Superman or Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Tobey Maguire.
That's a very good point.
Captured, because Peter Parker was a nerd and he was a dork, and Spider. But when he put on that spider suit,
he had the gravitas.
He was a bad, and now he wasn't Superman badass.
Yeah.
They each have their own unique, but he was like his snarky remarks.
Yeah,
he's like, I got you.
He had like a different way he held himself too. Like
Yes.
that was a perfect. That's a great example of someone who doesn't have gravitas as an actor to me, but did in that suit.
And this is the thing. And I know this is an origin story, but
so you see him mostly as the guy who doesn't have the gravitas because he's he's still you see him training and you see him not unsure with the suit, and really it's not till of any of these movies with origin stories in it. It's the last act that you actually see them become the heroes.
But there was too much of this, like, I don't want to do it. Like, just shut up. A couple of I don't want to do it, and then let's start training and get into it. Like, accept it and get into it. Right. And then when he finally had it, I didn't ever feel like, oh, he's a badass now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that's Paul Rudd.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't buy that.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So. Now let's get into this movie. I didn't have time to see this week, and I'm going to see it. But you saw Trainwreck.
I saw Trainwreck yesterday.
All right.
Yeah.
I was excited to see this.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great combination of Judd Apatow and Amy Schumer. And I thought it was very, very funny. Have you seen it at all?
We haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'm the only one who's seen it. Very funny, a great, it's in some ways, and I mean this as a compliment, a very formulaic rom-com. It's like, this person's a mess, they meet the right person, they have to get their shit together, they do. I'm not spoiling anything, we all know that's what happens. But it's amazing that it's like,
if you've watched a movie, you know
exactly,
that happens.
Right. But it's Amy Schumer who, and I will say is a dear friend of mine, and I've watched her become a movie star in the past. Like we all have, like she has become a star,
right?
In the past couple of years, and it's she is fantastic in this, and such an amazing actress, and really pulls off the emotional scenes. Bill Hader. Didn't know if I was going to buy him as a romantic lead. I had a little heart whimper. There was one point where he like says something to her. And he's just very straightforward with her about how he feels about her. And I heard other women in the audience go, "Oh," and I went, "Oh," like I was like, "Oh, okay, this is coming out of me." So they totally sold the shit out of that.
You had a group girl empathy moment?
I had a girl empathy moment. I get them sometimes. I'm not made of wood, you guys. I'm a person. I'm a real person. And it's such a genius idea because it's
so great.
They bring in like celebrities from the sports world, which it was easy to get them because they don't get to be in movies a lot. And that brings in dudes. It's a rom-com, so that brings in ladies. Like it's such a perfect, I saw a huge mix of human beings in the audience, because they wanted to see LeBron and Amari Stoudemire. I don't know much about basketball.
I tell you what, like if I wasn't a fan of Amy Schumer and didn't know much about comedy or this world, I would have seen that one trailer with LeBron James and go, "Oh, I'm going to see this."
100%.
Where he's talking about, he's like
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
It's so good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. And again, I love that I'm happy that you liked it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't want this movie to.
No, I think it's fantastic. I love it. There are some scenes where you can tell that people are just riffing and having fun, which I love. And I think maybe that's just because we're in the comedy world and we can kind of tell when someone's going off script and being silly. But LeBron really brings it. I was very surprised. I was like, they'll prop him up for a couple scenes. You know what I mean? Like give him lob softballs at him and he'll knock him out.
Be a scene where I'm like, are there going to be a scene where Bill Hader's in a pickup basketball game and then LeBron?
I will say that maybe perhaps that does happen, but it's funnier than you think it's going to be.
Great.
And I really recommend going to see it. I think it's a great it's a really, really good rom-com, and I've read reviews in both camps of it being like, oh, it's not feminist or it is feminist. Like it's Amy's tried and true feminist is going to push it as much as she can. And to me, it's a movie of a woman who's doing all the things that a man does in every rom-com and finding that still doesn't work for her either.
Yeah.
And it's figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like, we always see the dude who's a mess and has to get grown up by the lady, like meets a woman and suddenly he's like, I gotta get my shit together.
Right.
It's a lady doing that, and thank goodness it also doesn't work for her either. Do you know what I mean? Like I really liked that aspect of it, so I thought it was fantastic.
The thing that makes me happy to hear, the thing I like about her show on Comedy Central is she makes fun of everything.
Yeah.
Like the women overly, there's some sketch where like they're overly apologizing.
Oh, I
for
love
everything.
that sketch. The I'm sorry sketch.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Like, and she just is gonna, if this is bullshit, if this type of behavior is bullshit from a man, from a woman, from whoever, I'm gonna go after it. And it's that's what I love. Yeah.
She calls out stuff that I think women, we sometimes don't even realize we're doing because it's so ingrained. And sometimes it takes someone to just be like, hey, you know how you apologize for literally everything? Maybe think about that. Yeah. It's not like admonishing you for doing it. It's just like, that's just the thing we all do. Do we want to keep doing that? I don't know.
Yeah. Here's a hilarious way to look at it that might make you change, you know.
And there's a lot of scenes in the movie that you can kind of tell are shades of sketches from her show, which I also love. It just has her all over it. Her sister, Kim, who is also quite lovely, worked on the movie with her a bunch too. And that relationship between her and her sister, I think, is a really lovely relationship within the movie, and you can tell it's like an echo of the actual two of them. It's just really, really well done.
And so basically the roles were kind of reversed, but it worked.
Yes. It's like it's like a rom-com, but all the roles are reversed. And holy shit, why is it taking us this long to get to like?
You know, it's one of those things.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, how long did it take to put a door on both sides of a van?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right? Yeah.
Remember that? Like, when
How stupid were we?
when they made the ketchup bottle with the flat lid and
that you could sit upside down.
Sit upside down. Like, that took fucking 50 years to figure that out.
So people just were like, well, it's always worked this way. Why would we not?
Vans don't have two doors.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they?
Absolutely.
They may have two doors in Russia.
If you want to be a communist, you can have two doors on there. That's so. I love that when someone just goes,
yeah, why don't we just do it this way? Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a room, and then there's just a silence in whatever room that was first pitched, and everyone went, well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also love that, as much as I love Amy, I don't know that she would ever, I think people are kind of catching up to her now, but I don't know if 2 years ago, when I think a lot of this was filmed a year or 2 years ago, she would have been cast in a movie as that role. She had to create that role for herself.
Yeah.
Because we're still obsessed with putting very specific looking kind of women. We only have a few actresses that are allowed to be funny actresses, that we've deemed to be funny.
Right.
And I'm really happy she created this opportunity for herself to showcase herself. She was like a theater student. Like she can act.
Well, that's the thing too. And it's I like seeing this because so many, some comics, they just came up in the clubs and that's fine. But other comics had multiple ways of training.
Yeah.
And
did she start as an actress first and then a comedian?
She did. And I don't think she had any huge roles, but I know she went to theater school and then started doing stand up. And it's taken this many years. And thank God she went through that, like being a stand up this whole time. Because if she had just like written a thing for herself out of the gate, probably wouldn't have been this good.
No way.
Definitely not this funny.
No, she cut her teeth in the clubs.
100%.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of club comics in this movie.
That's what I love too. I saw it too. I was like, I love seeing all these comics.
Robert Kelly, Rachel Feinstein, like Nikki Glaser, all those guys that you see showing up in her show are
Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
the opposite of a club comic, by the way. Great guy.
All right. Well, cool. Let's go. All right. I saw this.
The documentary on Amy Winehouse.
Which is, she was a train wreck, and her name is Amy, but different movie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is a real life Amy train wreck story.
And when you told me about this on the phone, when you were saying this is a documentary that's all B-roll, I thought that was an odd choice, where you don't actually get to see anybody talking on screen.
I'm gonna bring this up on IMDb.
And this is a movie I've not seen.
So the story of Amy Winehouse, the story is, I don't know that much about it. I just know the broad strokes, big, crazy, famous, drug problem, OD'd and died. And the director's name is Asif Kapadia. I'm not pronouncing that correctly in the slightest, but that's what the best I can come up with. This is such a compelling story. It is so, and the director has all of the access to all of this amazing behind the scenes footage. And then and I'm assuming this is a choice. If it was for legal reasons, then I excuse it. But if it's a choice, I didn't like it at all. All of these interviews, ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, mom, best friends, former manager, only uses the audio from the interviews.
Oh, you never get to see them talking.
No.
That's very odd.
And I was starting, I was like, I'm in. Like, this is a documentary. At the end of it, I should have been crying. But I was so frustrated. Now, granted, we're in the final stages of editing a documentary. Right. So we're having 1,000 conversations a day about this interview and that B-roll, and that's all we're talking about.
When should we see someone's face? Is there too much B-roll?
Those are tough questions,
That's all we're doing. I mean, I was at the editors for 7 hours yesterday.
Yes.
So you're seeing it as an editor also.
I'm seeing it as a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
So granted, I will know that that's how I'm coming into this. And I'm just like, so there's scenes where like, you find out stuff. She was a bulimic. I didn't know this. She suffered from depression. And this is what a good documentary does. So there's footage of, so you're hearing the mom say, this English mom, they grew up in North London or whatever, like, well, Amy had this idea when she was 14 she said, Mom, I'm going to just eat whatever I want and then throw it up. And at the time, I didn't think that was that big of a deal.
Oh.
Then there's this pause. And now I realize I didn't know what bulimia was, and now I do.
Oh.
So you hear
God.
all of this regret
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
Gee, thank God we don't get to see the mom's face. I don't want to see her tears well up. Just show me more fucking footage of Amy, and it's just like
dancing around with a little pompadour.
And there's 24 examples like that.
Wow.
I wonder if maybe they just weren't aesthetically pleasing. What a weird choice. There's got to be some reason.
The only reason I can there's some
They forgot to have them sign the video release. They only got audio.
They only signed audio releases. I was just trying, and I really want.
It's too late. We got to release it. We can't go back and get these signed.
No, certainly not.
I want an explanation like that.
That's interesting.
Because I want to just go. I mean, and I was like, is the director just showing it's all about Amy? The movie's called Amy, but I'm like, this is, and I understand a documentary filmmaker going. Because we have these conversations. Every documentary film probably has I don't want it to just be lockdown interview footage.
Right.
Sure.
Yep.
It's boring.
Change it up, though.
Change it up. But you still need that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It would be like...
It anchors it. It anchors every interview.
Yeah. In Trainwreck, we saw other characters in the movie, correct? We didn't just see Amy. Just Amy. Bill Hader talking.
That's Birbiglia talking. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Right? You're still telling a story. The ex-boyfriend, then became ex-husband, was just he was a junkie.
That Blake guy or Pete Doherty?
Blake guy.
Okay.
And his regret, the time they tried to get her, and they have all this amazing footage. So it's we were trying to get her to rehab before she blew up. And he goes, and you hear the manager who was her best friend, he was like, I feel like if we could have got her, and then the dad said, nah, she doesn't need to go. He goes, I feel like that was our opportunity.
I mean, that's that song, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he says that, and then there's all these great things where they through the interviews, they describe some event that happened in her life, and then here's the song she writes about it, which is why she was so gifted.
Yeah.
With that haunting voice and those lyrics, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So
after the fourth or fifth time this happened, were you in your head going, they're not going to not show an interview subject every single time, are they?
Yeah, and I was like... We're it's almost a 2-hour documentary. We're at an hour 25 or hour 30, and we finally see someone, and I'm with the two other with Jessica and Gary, and his face comes up, and I stand out on my seat, and I go, finally! I couldn't contain myself.
Did anyone else in the theater feel the same way as you? Did you get an audible sense of there's probably, maybe not.
I don't know. I was so consumed in my what the fuck is happening that I couldn't. We've had conversations because we've got these amazing interviews and earbuds with these comics, these podcasters who are talking about serious stuff, and the editor put in, B-roll cutting to them doing stand-up, and there's several times I'm like, we got to trim back the B-roll because I want to see.
We want to see them,
especially as they're saying something that's significant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these are performers. They're engaging when they speak.
Yeah.
Right. We don't need to hide them.
No. So to just see there's an interview with Tony Bennett when he does duets with her, and he's talking about she's a true jazz musician. She could have been, and he's talking as an old school jazz guy,
right.
And she idolized him.
Yeah.
So and they got great footage during the shoot of her being nervous and don't show Tony goddamn Bennett.
Sure don't. Yeah.
So I can't even.
And that blows my theory of the family not being aesthetically pleasing because we know what Tony Bennett looks like. Let's show his face. There's got to be something.
They got one of then they talk about they showed Most Def and they showed Questlove.
You could de-age him with the technology now too.
Yeah, make him look like Michael Douglas.
Yeah,
from Wall
exactly.
Street.
And Most Def, I think, is one of the most aesthetically pleasing human beings I've ever lived.
And his voice. If this filmmaker didn't have some sort of legal reason,
then punch him in the face.
Then I don't understand this. And maybe many of you listening to me talk, maybe you could watch this movie and not fucking jump out of your chair in frustration the way I did. But I don't. You still got to show me. That is what a documentary is all about. This is an actual person.
Yeah.
This is not a reenactment.
Show them.
So you show them talking about things, and then you have the actual fucking footage. He's got all this amazing footage. Anyway.
All right. Sounds like a bit of a missed opportunity.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, the movie is, a good movie is there. It's just not put together properly.
If you put in a half a dozen of those interviews.
It would have changed everything for you.
I would have said, this is an amazing documentary, and it's an amazing story. because you get frustrated. You get mad at the paparazzi, and they show comedians making jokes about her.
Yeah, that's such a bummer. We were just waiting for her to die.
Yeah.
That's what's such a bummer.
I was bammed up myself. Like, I'm sure I made a joke, you know, like, I was ashamed. But then that all went away because I was too mad that I didn't see anybody's face.
So now, the Melissa McCarthy movie, Spy, you saw. Now,
I
did you get to see Melissa McCarthy in the movie?
Yeah.
Or did you only see her?
Yeah, the entire movie, they just all talk about Melissa McCarthy the whole time. And just show, a picture of Spy Kids, the cover of Spy Kids, which is completely incorrect. And then I just hear audio from the movie, which I used to do, by the way. I used to audio tape movies that I loved. I would hold a cassette player up to the television and then listen to it on road trips. So many movies I just, had to memorize what was
you're going to
happening.
love the Amy documentary.
Right?
This is right in your wheelhouse.
You could watch it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, Fletch. I did that with Fletch and Fletch Lives. Love those Fletch movies. Anyway, I love Spy. I thought it was fantastic. And the story I had heard about this movie, and I hope it's true, was that Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy, who obviously know each other because of Ghostbusters, he was like, I'm working on this movie about a guy who's like the assistant to a really cool James Bond type, and then he has to go in and rescue his boss. And she was like, I would love to play a role like that. And he was like, maybe I could make it a woman. And then that's like that.
Really?
Because if you think, have either of you seen this movie?
No.
If you think about this movie, it could have easily been played, the main character could have easily been played by Seth Rogen. Easily. Like a schlubby kind of I gotta somehow start kicking ass. But
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But instead, it's played by Melissa McCarthy, and that, I think, is such an interesting, just new thing. They add an element where she's kind of maybe in love with him, her boss, who's a spy guy. But I really love just this idea that the reason that James Bond types know when to duck and how many people are in the room is because they have someone in their ear telling them, and that's her role. Okay, I see from the heat seeker, there's 5 people around the corner. You're gonna have to go duck, do this, do that. She's guiding him the entire way. He's not that great. He just listens to direction from her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and I love that idea in general. And again, it's another role. It's another movie where a guy who's not usually funny steals it. Jason Statham killed me in this movie.
Really?
He is so fucking funny in this movie and so bizarre, such a weird character. He just and he keeps, I think he knows why he's funny. Do you know what I mean? I think he understands.
Self-aware.
Yeah, I think he understands what it is about him that's so funny, and he just kills it. Every line he gets, to me, stole every single scene.
That makes me happy because, okay, so the Trainwreck, as soon as I saw the trailer, I said, I want to see this. It looks funny. The Spy trailer, I was torn because I'm like, this looks like it could not be funny. Or is it doing that thing that studios do all the time, which is they
make the worst trailer possible.
Especially for comedies.
100%.
They find that
the dumbest shit,
so is it the whole movie just her bumping into stuff and doink, bing bong, is it that?
It's not. No,
is it a 007 Kevin James movie? That's
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what the trailer looked like. I was like, there's no way I'm seeing that.
And it's not. It's smarter than that because Paul Feig, I think, is tremendous. There are a couple of set piece scenes in it that I was like, come on, guys, you didn't need to, you didn't need this dumb. There's one where there's holes in an airplane and things are getting sucked into up against the airplane, and there's a poo joke in the airplane, and there's poo. And I was like, we didn't need that whole sequence. I could have done without. It's just no reason for it to be there. But for the most part, it's just very smart and funny. The cursing is constant in that movie. Rose Byrne just constantly curses Melissa McCarthy constantly. And I don't normally care about that stuff, but it was so much that even I was like, all right, guys, come on. Yeah, there are other words out there. But that's a very tiny complaint. I just thought it was super fun, and I did not expect to love it as much as I did. I love Paul Feig. I love Melissa McCarthy. And now I love Jason Statham, it turns out. I didn't realize that I did.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Secret crush now.
That makes me glad to see it. I think it doesn't surprise me because I get the feeling because Statham, some of the other movies he chooses,
those Crank movies are hilarious.
Yeah, they're hilarious, and I think he's I know,
this is who I am.
I'm ripped and I'm shaved and that's right, mate. Yeah. Knock a guy out, right? That's my gig.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing
some of the craziest movies you've ever seen.
Crank
movies,
yeah,
they're insane.
They're ridiculous. There's I just remember the one scene where they're having sex on a racetrack and I can't even remember why it's happening, but I remember being all right, I think we've reached maximum Crank potential here.
When they turned into giant monsters fighting in the power plant.
Perfect. Of course they did.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie. I highly recommend it. Not for kids, but I do recommend it. Not for kids. Yeah.
So that one earned its
Trainwreck.
rating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Trainwreck's for kids.
Trainwreck definitely for children. Yeah, and Zach Woods has a cameo in Spy that something happens to him that is just a special effect that is grotesque. And I was like so surprised that in this movie where it's like violent but not that violent, just get ready. His scene is like a little nuts. Like something bad happens to him and you're like, holy shit, I didn't think that could happen in a movie. That's all. Be aware of that.
All right.
Not necessarily a spoiler, more of a warning.
Yeah. Little warning.
Yeah.
Yield sign.
Yeah.
So now, Emily, we also were at Comic-Con. You were at
Yes.
Comic-Con, and you recorded at least, 100 interviews there, something like that?
We did a lot of stuff. It was a very packed Comic-Con. Yeah.
And but so tell us about like the Comic-Con trip and what's going on with your podcast, Indoor Kids, that will be at LA Podfest this year.
That's right.
Nice segue.
We did Comic-Con for a couple of different things. We did it for the podcast, which we ended up doing one live podcast that was like a panel podcast. So it wasn't just us.
Just in case there's people listening and don't, tell everybody what your podcast is.
The Indoor Kids is a podcast. It's ostensibly about video games, but it's really about anything that keeps you indoors and from enjoying the sun outside. So it's basically anything that you're super passionate about, or we're super passionate about. And so it's video games, and it's movies, it's books, it's TV shows. Sometimes
and we
it's
as
apps.
you and
it's myself and my co-host Kumail Nanjiani, who's also my husband.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
It's interesting how you said host before husband.
I try to. We try to keep our roles as like, when we're in that room, he's not my husband. He is my co-host at that point in time. But it's super fun. We get very silly. It's not like a very technical podcast. We just kind of gush about the things that we love. We did a whole episode about just wrestling games, because I didn't know much about them, and I learned a lot about wrestling, you guys. So much. More than I ever needed to know. But, and for Comic-Con, we record an episode where we just have a handheld recorder and walk around the floor, and whoever we run into is our guest for that moment. So we had like 18 guests on that podcast. And we did a panel, we did a meet and greet for Comedy Central, and then we did a live version of our show for Comedy Central, which is The Meltdown with Joan and Kumail. And in between that, we just kind of walked the floor and bought lots of things.
Yes.
There's
Bought a
plenty
lot
of
of
things to
toys.
buy.
I bought 2 book programs. Do you remember when, like, not book programs, movie programs? Do you remember when movies used to have books that would come with them before the internet that were like, find out about the cast and the story of the movie? We bought one for the movie Willow and one for the movie Popeye. Inexplicably. Inexplicably.
Oh my God.
Now-
Actually, the Popeye one, I'd love to.
Right? That'd be pretty
Get
cool.
a little
Yeah.
backstory on that movie.
I have not even cracked it open.
I loved that movie.
Yeah.
What have you watched it recently?
No, I don't never want to.
Doesn't really hold up.
No,
Yeah.
really.
I'm
I don't that and Neighbors. I want to keep in my
In your
vault
vault.
of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
memory of how great they were when I saw them
What a
when
great
I was
movie.
9
Yeah.
or whatever.
Now, do you when you go around and buy stuff? Like I went around and bought stuff. Some for me, some for the kids.
Sure.
But there's places on the floor where you just can't get near, like the
Yeah.
Hasbro toy shop and all these other ones, where it's literally this weird labyrinthian process where you have to like go to another floor, get tickets for the privilege of waiting in line the next day.
Yeah.
To actually then
don't get down
spend
on
money.
that.
Yeah. Did you wait in any of those crazy lines to get anything?
No, I hate waiting in lines. And for video game stuff, at this point, I usually can go up and go, hey, I have a podcast about video games. If you want me to talk about your game, can I get in here? And they usually will let you in. And you have to show the badge and be like, see, I promise I'm not just lying. But, I kind of feel like if anything takes that much work to get, I would rather just buy it online. I don't want that experience.
Go on eBay.
I don't want the experience of having to wait in line for a thing. We ended up buying a Batman figure from, the new Arkham Knight game, which is amazing, but it was like a special Comic-Con exclusive. It had different coloring on it. I was like, I kind of don't even need to have like a Comic-Con edition of something. Like I'm fine with like the regular, like it's not like a thing where I'm like, I'm here and so this is part of the experience is like doing all these things that are only available here. No, all the panels are available online 20 minutes after they finish. Like everything ends up going online. So I just try to have a good time and not do things that frustrate me, and waiting in lines very much frustrates me. I'd rather have fun.
Yeah,
I can see it all online later.
I totally agree. Like when we went down Wednesday night, I mean, it was nice walking around the floor. Like even buying Comic-Con t-shirts, like on
Absolutely.
Thursday, it
Yes.
was like, not too bad.
I love
10,
walking
15-minute wait. It was fine. But then you hit Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Forget it. You can't even walk around. Yeah.
What were some of the interviews that you guys got walking the floor that stick out to you?
We would just run out. We would run into like friends of ours. So like, Taron Killam, from SNL was just there. And so we just walk around with him and we're like making fun of toys with him, like that we saw, like, and so you just run into like comedian, and like we'll run into voice actors. We know a lot of voice actors from video games now, and they don't get recognized on the floor. So you kind of run into them and then like just have them talk for a minute about
Unless they're dressed as their character.
And even then.
Yeah.
And just like, it's mostly comedians we run into that are also just experiencing Comic-Con, and then we just kind of get silly as we walk around, which is super fun. And then we like, Telltale Games, we ended up doing an interview with them, just because we happen to run into those guys. Like, we'll get like real, like actual coverage of stuff, but for the most part, it's like, look at this silly thing. Hello. Yay.
Now, does Nerdist, they have a big presence there, but do they have a table? Like, do you guys have like a base that you guys go to, or do they?
We can, but we don't usually use that. And we had two different signing events, one for indoor kids and one for the Meltdown. And since the two of us are both of those things, essentially, we kind of were like, well, we're going to have to, I don't want to split that. Do you know what I mean? So we ended up canceling one of them because we were like, we should only do one. We're not such assholes that we're like, we should do 2 signing events. So many people will show up. It'll be crazy. So we were like, we'll just do the one. But they have like Nerdist has like a headquarters that we can go to, but, we mostly just kind of stuck. We just did whatever we wanted to do and then took stuff back to our hotel. There was one day that we'd gotten a ton of toys and nobody was available to take them back to the hotel except for me. And that 20-minute walk carrying was like
giant bags,
huge bags,
Sherpa your way through the
everywhere,
Gaslamp district,
just miserable. And then I realized,
how did you get to win? Take that back?
The two guys, Jonah and Kumail, both had something they had to do separately, and
I didn't tell you what it was.
They're just drinking somewhere watching me.
Yeah, we got a thing, Emily. Sorry.
So I literally, and as I had just bought a new dress on the floor and I was wearing it, and I was walking this is so embarrassing, and the dress had ridden up and was just tucked like into the bag, basically. So I just was walking with my ass hanging out. Now I was wearing tights, so it wasn't like a horrifying thing, but I was like, what a fucking day I'm at Comic-Con, and I was just like, I hate this place. I want to leave. And then as soon as I dropped off the stuff, I was like, yay, Comic-Con! Yeah. But it was very intense, and we bought more stuff than we ever had because we had a person that we had a way to get it back that was like easy and not like on a plane or a train.
A mule. Yeah.
Yeah, my Comic-Con mule.
Yeah.
Obviously. It was super, super fun. I had a great time this year.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Always fun.
Yeah, it is always fun too. There's definitely certain times to do certain things, and then, there's always meetings and stuff, and it's fun. You see friends, and, we really want to go every year. Oh, by the way, I want to bring this up really quickly because it was hilarious. Remember that on the drive back, we were saying, it's not really worth it to get a table. It's really expensive, and it's better to be mobile and walk around and, meet everybody. I was talking to Eric Jacobus from the Stunt People, and he said to me, we're not getting a table anymore. I'm tired of being stuck behind that thing. It's too expensive. We're going to walk around like what you guys do.
No tables. What is the point? And then you're stuck there all day?
Yeah. I just started laughing. I said, you know what? We came to the exact same conclusion this year.
We could just do whatever we wanted.
It's so much easier.
And we could just, because we've talked about bringing a recorder down and grabbing interviews.
Yeah.
This time we sometimes we don't have much time because we got to do all these things, but we could easily do that. And I like what you guys did. Just walk around.
So much easier.
Grab interviews.
Yeah.
You're gonna run into people
Yeah.
And then we could also just go to some table that's selling a film. And
Right.
We
Exactly.
do a film podcast.
And they would love to talk to you because they're like, oh, great, press. This is amazing. And it's such an easy, and also we were actually talking about this before the recording. Your listeners kind of realize this one's going to be a little shaggier than usual.
Yeah.
And so that becomes like a fun aspect to it too. I will say maybe a couple of them were done at parties where maybe we should not have been recording, but we were. And it was fun. And it's like we do it like, come with us. You get to come with us to Comic-Con. And I think people really love that.
Yeah, I think it's cool because, and it's also nice to just break it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just different than this.
Yep.
Yeah. And by the way, the only thing that Star Wars for the first time ever made it, went against what I said earlier of like every panel just goes online. What they did this past year with taking everyone to that concert.
Oh,
Yes.
That is the only time I've ever been like, shit, I would have. And I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan, but holy shit.
Oh, no, we
being
all
at
said that.
panel. Yeah.
I've never been I'm not waiting in line. And then when we had Steele Saunders on the episode.
Because he was there and he
did it.
He was there.
He recounted the entire experience and he said it was one of the greatest experiences
Just
of
that
his
picture
life.
of everyone holding up their lightsabers
Yeah.
at that. I fucking was
I would have
like,
slept outside for that.
Yeah.
You know, I would have slept outside.
And you would have
for
had
that.
not only a memory, but like a souvenir. Like this is the only place
Yeah.
you would have gotten.
Yeah.
this.
And so that's the only time I've ever seen someone come away with something that you did have to be in the room. You
Right.
normally these days you don't have to be in the room anymore.
Right.
You can
Right.
get it online. That one you definitely needed
You
to be
had
in the
to
room.
be in the room.
I wonder if that's going to set a precedent too, to
hope
like
so.
upping
Yeah.
the ante of like, all
Should.
right, you're going to be in Hall H now. We got to outdo J.J. Abrams. What
Yeah.
can we do this year? You know?
Although I will say Kevin Smith's his Hall H thing was the one after that one, and he would have wanted to go to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a bummer that like they cleared out Hall H, which
Yes.
by the way people just stand there all day, and he had to do a thing when he like knew there was a concert going on for Star Wars.
Well, apparently there was some. I don't know. That was the theory that Steele Saunders had on the last episode. Was there was some sort of rift between
Friction between
J.J.
and
Abrams and Kevin
Kevin
Smith.
That's why he did it.
And he deliberately took everyone out of Hall H.
Yeah.
That's true. That's such a bummer. There's no need to do that. There's enough people to go around.
Well, I'm sure Hall H filled up again very quickly. I mean, there's all those extra people.
Right.
in
Yeah.
line.
But I mean, that could just be nerd theory.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
I like
So-
to invent
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah, we'll say it's
Spread it around?
speculation, but
Yeah.
it's fun speculation.
It's good speculation.
So we'll talk about DVDs.
Let's do it.
Now, the only reason I mentioned this first DVD that was it's not that many DVDs coming out this week. Kung Fu Killer. And it actually has Donnie Yen in it. But the only reason I mentioned this movie, and if you pull it up, it's got a very weird summary. Read the summary.
A martial arts instructor from the police force gets imprisoned after killing a man by accident. But when a vicious killer starts targeting martial arts masters, the instructor offers to keep the police in return for his freedom.
I know. You're like, wait,
What?
what just
offers to
happened?
help the police
Yeah,
in
I
Return for its freedom. So they let him out of jail to hunt down the guy
Wait,
who's
so-
hunting Kung Fu masters.
Yeah, so what is this? And the reason I put it here is because just the title Kung Fu Killer is probably sending Rick Myers into a frenzy right now.
Also the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Those are the two groups.
Yeah. Because you know that was literally just slapped on, or it's some weird translation into
That's
that.
so funny.
Did he bring this up at the?
No.
No.
Uh-uh.
All right, because I know he did bring up one Donnie Yen movie. No,
This was not it. Absolutely.
What is that?
That is the new printer is.
Our new printer's getting called. All right, guys.
Can you guys step outside for a minute? I got to take this.
The printer needs to talk to us. It's
It's like,
sort of
you know,
a Mission
you-
Impossible.
You haven't printed anything in a while.
It's the Thrilling Adventure
Yeah.
Hour guys going, I know there's a bunch of orders.
Yeah, you
Stuff
gotta-
with the fucking yappity about the Donnie Chen nonsense and stuff some goddamn envelopes. All right. Kung Fu Killer, sure,
Kung
I'll
Fu
see
Killer's-
this.
And What We Do in the Shadows. This is the.
So good.
This is we haven't seen this yet. I'm excited to see this. This is the vampire movie, but told in like the documentary
Yes.
style. And
It's-
it looks-
this.
I have seen
Looks
this.
really funny.
It's wall-to-wall laughs. It cannot... How great to see Jermaine Clement back in something. It's an amazing cast. I love this movie so much. I watched it twice in a row just because it's just so inventive and so funny, and just watch the shit out of it. It's so great. It's like a great mockumentary about some vampires, and I like the way the vampires are set up in this movie. It's amazing. Yeah.
Watch the shit out of
Yes.
Watch the shit out of it.
This next movie, Wild Horses, is a Robert Duvall film, and I had never heard of this film before. I don't know
Robert
when it came
Duvall
out.
films going straight to DVD.
Well, yeah, but it's also got
Franco
James
and Josh
Franco in it.
Hartnett?
But it's weird. It's like this weird, like Brokeback Mountain type story where a rancher finds his son in a compromising position with another man, and
Ooh.
banishes him from the farm, and then it kind of goes from there. But
Are Hartnett and Franco the ones that are in the
I'm
cut?
not sure. What's
I hope so.
A detective opens up a 15-year-old missing persons case and begins to suspect that the boy it belongs to was murdered.
Is that the really?
Yep.
That doesn't mention anything about gay
No,
sex.
there's another there's a DVD description that's completely different
So
than
weird.
that one. So that means they can't even get the marketing right on what this movie is. But that's
I
a
like
big
old
part
mystery
of it.
stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
I'll
sounds
watch
interesting.
that.
So is
it one of those movies like
I don't know what to make of this movie.
Well, that's the thing. You look at this cast and you look at it and you go, is this one of those movies that just for whatever reason, maybe there's some internal politics and it's like, wow, this is a really good movie. How come?
Yeah. Or sometimes things just go weird.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're on two different sites and you read two completely different descriptions.
Right. Or you watch it and go, oh, this is a fucking bag of shit.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now I see why I went straight to DVD. And where it had a very limited release.
Yeah. Like Robert Duvall's attorney is trying to get his name removed from it. Got it. Right.
And now this is a DVD pick that you wanted to talk about, Emily. This is The Guest.
Yes. If you could look it up so I could, if you don't mind, so I could remember the director's name or be told the director's name because I've forgotten it. It's an amazing suspense movie.
Adam Wingard.
Yes. And can you tell me the other movies he's made? He's made great movies.
Adam Wingard has made...
He made VHS?
He has one of the VHS segments, a really, really good one.
Yeah, the ABCs of... He did a segment in ABCs of Death.
Yeah.
It was What Fun We Were Having. 60 Seconds of Solitude in Year Zero. You're Next.
You're Next! Oh, You're Next is such a great movie. Oh, man, you guys, if you haven't seen You're Next, see You're Next.
That's another one that got hooked up... Or kind of ruined on the marketing.
Yes, 100%. It was not a clear sense of what that movie was when you saw the ads.
And, I think Neil saw it. He loved it. It was on the, we have a review on the site, but it was basically a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And, but it was...
And suspense, like an action movie towards the end, yeah.
And it was marketed as like this weird, creepy serial killer movie, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it also, like we were talking about earlier... They have a lot of their horror director friends kind of make cameos in it. It's like this pack of new, younger horror films.
A.J. Bowen's always in all of them, even though he's not a director.
They put each other in their own films.
Yeah. This movie, the very basic premise is it's a family that has lost one of their adult sons to, like, the war in Iraq. And then a friend of, an army friend shows up at their house and wants to talk to them about their son. That's all you need to know. And it's amazing. It's very suspenseful.
This is like that dog movie, Max.
Yes. Yes. It's
actually it actually has a similar setup.
That's very funny. Different movies, I imagine. No children in this one.
And no dogs.
The guest doesn't show him go,
it's an amazing movie. It's very creepy. It's amazingly directed, amazingly acted. It's a guy from Downton Abbey who's playing just the most American human being I've ever seen in my life. So he's clearly a great actor.
When you say a guy from Downton Abbey, couldn't that be one of like 200 people?
Yeah, I don't actually know Downton Abbey, so I was just told that, and I was like, okay, cool. And the soundtrack is all 90s industrial and electronic music, which is my jam. So I have been listening to the soundtrack nonstop, and it's amazing. I just highly, highly recommend it.
All right.
It's fantastic.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Check it out, The Guest. Now, the site spotlight and the fan feedback. We've been getting a lot of fan reviews on the message boards, which is really cool, so you can see if they actually match what our reviewers are doing or if it's movies that our reviewers have not seen. Graham, you found something.
I found a cool fan feedback. We got... There's an article sent to me by Irvin Malcolm Contreras. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but so what?
Got that three names going.
My fault. Not my fault. You got a weird name. So he sent me this email on Facebook, and he goes, Graham, I know you kind of you've badmouthed AI in the past.
As have I.
We both badmouthed.
The movie or the actual thing?
Yeah.
The concept. Okay. Yeah, it's bullshit. Like, just don't fuck with Mother Nature, Emily. Like, don't be an asshole. Everything was fine.
Well, when you look at both of them, one I didn't like, one I fear.
Yeah, okay. I'm still not sure which is which, but that's fine.
It changes every day.
Yeah.
But he goes, he sent me this really cool article that was in Ain't It Cool News that came out July 17th, very recently. It says, a revisit. And basically, the article is by, let's find the, it's a long article.
It's Ain't It Cool News. It always is.
Wow, it's really long. By Eric Vespi, I guess. And basically the article is like, this writer says I don't normally change my opinion on films because I went back and watched it again, and actually AI is amazing.
Huh.
And so Irvin was like, Graham, you should read this and you should revisit this. So I'm gonna watch the movie again and see what happens. And I posted the article on the Comedy Film Nerds Facebook page. So you guys tell us what you think. about this. This is a really cool, because it is true. Like, there's always that, does this hold up? Which I know is somebody started doing this as a podcast, but like, does this hold up? But there are also other movies that then over time, you watch them again and they get better.
They were before their time.
They were before their time, or maybe you personally were in a different place in your life when you saw them the first time.
But what are the odds that we're all in a different place than when AI came out? You know what I mean? Like, maybe Eric Vespi was in a weird place before, and now
So maybe that's the issue. Eric Vespi just
everyone. I saw it at the Man Chinese Theater, and everyone in that theater when that movie ended booed.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was in the same place when that. So.
All of us just like, I did not. I definitely didn't love it. And I thought Jude Law was great in it, but I did not love it.
But I will, this intrigues me, and I do want to see it again.
I'm curious. I'm really curious to see if is there and as our society has changed and the technology has gotten so, infiltrated every aspect of our life, and
we might all like Jude Law more.
Right. I don't care that he banged his nanny. Yeah. I'm cool with it.
It is true. We don't really care about that. As long as you're not raping people, we're fine with you these days.
It's consensual. It's okay.
You're consensual. We're like, go for it. I don't care.
You could make Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. We'll forgive you.
Oh, that movie. Oh, that movie.
Maybe Eric Vespi should revisit that one.
Yes.
Just all the Jude Law greats.
All right. Well, thanks, Irvin. I'm gonna revisit this and see if Eric was right, or if you guys are just fucking wingbirds, just fucking freak zones.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
So premiering this week, Pixels. Oh my dear Lord. This movie, every trailer I see and every interview I see, it looks worse and worse and worse and worse. What fascinates me too is whenever a movie's in trouble, they start to do those little featurettes of like the actors trying to tell you, to trick you into seeing it, tell you how great it is.
Movie's in trouble. That's so great.
And you really see it too with the actors. Like they're interviewing them and you can see the publicist written lines that they have to say. When I saw the script, I knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
No, when you saw the paycheck, the offer.
They had some focus group screenings that were like, what a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
And they were like, we better scramble.
What on earth were they thinking?
And now, because you see the desperation in these extra trailers and interviews, you realize, all right, we just got to make the money in the first week. And once people see it,
because they're not going to come back. Word of mouth is going to be bad.
You're going to crush this fucking movie.
You guys, what if it's amazing, though?
Then we're in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
With
as a video game fan, don't leave them alone. Leave my little guys alone.
Yeah, as a video game fan as well, I'm like even more offended by this film.
Yeah, I'm offended not as a movie fan, but as a video game fan.
In the trailer, when I first saw the trailer, I went, God, if someone else was doing this movie, it could be great.
That's true. If you could do like a very satirical, very dark, very weird indie kind of movie, but not
Scott Pilgrim versus the World type vibe.
Why not let, I don't know, the guy who did the actual short that it's based on, maybe let him take a crack at it.
Have you seen that short?
Yes.
How is the short?
It's good. It's fun, but it's like a couple minutes long.
How do you make that into a film?
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's, this was kind of a cute show. I don't see how this would be a movie. And then
Dinklage, what are you doing? We love you, Dinklage. Don't show up. He is in this, right?
Yes.
I've seen it. Yeah.
You're
too good for this.
Yeah, no, he definitely doesn't need to be there.
Oh.
I think Dinklage got a nice big 7.
Yeah, I really think too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Make that money,
exactly.
baby.
It's something weird with every summer. Like you always have like a couple really good movies, but you always have that one movie that's not mediocre, that's absolutely an abomination. Like you have like R.I.P.D. Like there's always one that comes in every summer. So it's like this, hundreds of $1 million misfire that you're like, how did this ever get past, the
so
green
many
light?
movies are shelved. So many movies don't even happen. Somehow this
this is the one that you picked that you think was going to be your summer tentpole. This one.
Like I get Ant-Man being made over this.
Oh, sure.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, Marvel Universe.
Absolutely.
Keep it going.
Yeah, but a movie like this, you're like, where this cost a fortune to
so
make.
Expensive.
And I don't know. I don't get it. It will be the surprise of the last 10 years if this movie is watchable.
Absolutely.
No, 50.
That's
a surprise.
And I feel like I don't even know who it's for because it's video game references that kids aren't going to get.
Right.
and I guess maybe it's parents that are taking their kids, be like, I want to get these references and maybe you'll enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know who it's for. I cannot figure out the age range for this movie.
And neither can I. And that's why, like, my kids want to see it because they see the video game characters. I'm like, I don't know. This could be like, you know, some gross out comedy that has video. I don't even know. I said, I'm going to have to preview it, which is code for none of us are ever going to see this film.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
I wonder if they saw Wreck-It Ralph and they were like, we could do this. Like, you know,
exactly.
Wreck-It Ralph does that well. Yeah.
If it was like Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, perfect. What a perfect movie that is. Nearly perfect.
It is really good movie.
That, Galaxy Quest, a couple of perfect movies in my head. Yeah.
So, the next movie is Paper Towns. This is, I believe, the writer from Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
And, you know, I saw the trailer for this movie. It's another movie that is not quite sure what it wants to be as well, because if you watch the trailer, the first half of the trailer is like, oh, this looks like a fun, funny, coming-of-age, you know, relationship story. But then the girl disappears.
Yeah.
And then, well, wait, now is this a mystery or what is this movie?
I haven't read this book. I've read The Fault in Our Stars and I thought it was fantastic. I cried like a little baby. I didn't love the movie as much as I love the book. That's okay. It's interesting that we're putting supermodels in movies again. I don't know. And I am a huge fan of Cara Delevingne, and she's being cast in a lot of stuff right now. And so I'm interested to see her in Suicide Squad. I don't know how that's going to be, but this is her as the lead of a movie. A woman who has been mostly known for appearing a certain way and not acting or speaking. So I'm a little hesitant. It's so interesting when you hang a whole movie on someone who has not had any acting experience. Modeling is acting in a sense, but it's not the same. No. It's like Chappie, where you put a band as the leads of your movie.
Chappie, Jesus.
What are you doing?
No,
what? Like,
no, it's the same.
It's
a camera's a camera. What's the difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. It turns out. Now I want to root for her. I think she's an awesome girl, so I want to root for her. But I also am like, aren't we done with these like manic pixie dream girl stories? Aren't we done with like the magical girl who comes and changes your world? We have already had Garden State. It's done. This is just like younger Garden State.
And the twist is this one. Well, she disappeared.
Yeah.
We have to find her.
Maybe she's a ghost the whole time.
Yeah, or a leprechaun. We have to find her at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, she's a leprechaun, Chris. That'd be awesome. That'd be fucking great.
That actually would be a good idea.
Where's me gold? I thought you were a supermodel.
And she's a leprechaun from the Leprechaun movie, so she's very scary.
Yeah, she's demonic. She fucking murders these kids and eats their faces.
Let's green like that.
No, I'm
into it.
No, all right. I'll see that movie.
Here's what I think about this movie. First of all, I think I am still so much in love with The Fault in Our Stars. I didn't read the book, but I saw the movie, so I just cried the whole time. I have nothing to compare it to. I thought it was great. So
I wish I'd seen the movie first, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
absolutely.
Sorry.
So you tell me that it's by the same person, I'm in. Like,
Okay.
I'm in. My thinking is, and again, I might just be too high on Fault in Our Stars, that I cried flying back from Tokyo for or some shit like that. It was,
Oh, and if you're on a plane, you're going to cry your face off.
Oh, yeah.
I cry at every movie on a plane.
And I'm flying over the ocean. I've been on a plane for 7 hours.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
You could die.
Yeah, you could die. This is it. My thinking, the marketing department doesn't know what the movie is.
Interesting.
The marketing department, my guess is, knowing this author, and I was actually talking to over the 4th of July, I was hanging out with my niece, who's 16. She's like, I've read all these books, and
teenager obsessed with him.
She loves it. And my niece and I saw Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. So
Did she like that?
She loved it.
I loved it.
So I did too. And we're having this conversation. She's like, oh, Paper Town, I can't wait. So I'm thinking Paper Town has a darkness to it. Mm-hmm. And that,
according to the trailer, doesn't kick in until the middle of the film.
That's my thing. And I think then the studio or the marketing people went, we got to make this cute teen snarkiness.
Yeah.
And that's not what the movie is, because that's not what the book was.
Oh, okay.
That's my hope.
That'd be great.
That's what I'm hoping. I think this.
So it's thriller from start to finish, maybe. Or mystery from
yeah.
start to finish.
And it's like these quirky kids, got to grow the fuck up during this whatever this thriller adventure, whatever it is. Maybe it's kind of like Brick.
Right.
And
that'd be cool.
And they didn't know how to cut the trailer. And they went. And here's what they did. The marketing department. We got a model.
Yeah.
And kids and teens. This is what.
And a leprechaun.
And a leprechaun.
And a leprechaun with a magic sword.
I do like these. I like teen movies that are a bit pitched a bit more seriously and a bit more like shit's kind of fucked up. Like, and everything's not like let's party until we die. Like I like Superbad and I love Superbad, but I also like Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and I like The Fault in Our Stars for being like teenagers that you don't get to see be in movies very often. I think that's cool, and I love that teenagers like that too.
What was the Spectacular Now was another great example.
Yeah, it was a great
like,
coming of age movie.
I think when the Let's Party Till We Die, when they're done correctly, those are fun. Those are always going to be fun.
I love them, but that's the other side of the coin. Is Spectacular
Right.
Now.
Yeah.
That's what that guy is like all the time.
Yeah,
it's a bummer.
And that's what we want to, and I think that's too, like talking to a 16-year-old girl, my niece, why she loves them, and why we talked about The Fault in Our Stars, because my stepmother, her grandmother died 2-3 years ago, and when that happened, she was 13 or something, 14, and so we started having these serious conversations about death and life, and that's why she so resonated. She goes, "That's what I love about Fault in Our Stars. It wasn't all puppies and rainbows."
Oh, I love that so much.
And I was like, and she's this really thoughtful, she's smart, she gets good grades.
That's amazing.
She's in all these activities, but she's not just,
She's not like floofy, fluffy. I don't know what I'm saying.
The one thing she said, she goes, "God, I just don't like hanging out with teenagers," and I just started laughing. I was like, no one does.
You guys are the worst.
Yeah.
You'll be out of it soon.
So
that's amazing. Okay, well, that's actually kind of changed my mind about it. We'll see.
And I really think this suffers from what we call trailer side.
Okay.
All right. You've convinced me as well now.
Yeah,
I'm more
done.
excited to see it. Now, the next movie, Southpaw. This is a boxing/family movie. And after I watched the trailer, I realized, wow, there's a lot of good actors overacting in a bad film.
It feels like Jake
terrible.
Gyllenhaal's attempt at The Fighter.
Yeah. Well, I'm so tired of movies where like, you got one last fight to really make it happen.
And, the director, Anton Fuqua, he's really known for coherent and dramatic and character pieces.
It'll have a great first act.
Yeah, it'll be,
Fuqua's the best first act director in the business.
What else
and
has
then watch
Fuqua
it
done, by the way? You're looking it up?
And it all starts to collapse.
I just kind of don't. Aren't there other sports, guys? Aren't there other sports? Why is it always got to be fighting? Why? Maybe, you know what I think? Jake Gyllenhaal was like, I want to get in good shape. Can you guys put me in a movie where I
don't have to pay a trainer?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, okay.
Well, now he's done really solid movies like The Equalizer, Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh, shit, honey. No.
Shooter.
Shooter?
Yeah. Tears of the Sun.
Oh, I don't even know that one, but it sounds like trash.
Training Day.
Oh, that's a good movie.
The first half of it.
Yes.
The first 45 minutes of it are great. They're amazing.
Yeah.
This is
one of the weird times where you hear about a director being replaced halfway through. I think he could make a great movie if he was replaced halfway through
Yeah.
the movie. Like, all right, Antoine Fuqua, but we're only on Act 2. Perfect, you're done.
Maybe he needs to
done.
be in a group, like it's a duo, and he takes the first half and somebody else takes
we're
the
going to
second
get
half.
Edgar Wright to finish this film.
And Edgar would be like, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I have things to do.
I would see a Fuqua Edgar Wright mashup or duo.
So funny. He would be like, I'm out, guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
I can actually make a full movie.
Yeah.
You don't need me for the back half of this.
Yeah.
By the way, Baby Driver sounds really great. His new movie that's coming out. I'm very excited.
I'm in for whatever Edgar Wright does. Yeah, this just looks like I'm. And again, it just looks like it, like you say, it has every fighting cliche.
One last fight.
Fight.
Shut up.
You gotta dig deep, and you gotta didn't we hear this in the
I got to get my family back.
Yeah.
the family's back, and it's always.
But no, they're right there.
The wife who was like, "Stop fighting!" Like, I would love to meet. I would love to make a movie. If I ever were to make a fighting movie, the wife would be like, "You go knock that motherfucker out.
Be supportive and
You married a fighter.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you would."
You understand that he punches people.
Yeah.
And he
And
may
gets
get
punched.
punched.
And you'd probably like it.
Yeah.
You're the type of woman who's attracted to a fighter. You're
I'm
probably
not going to marry a fighter ever in my whole life. I don't like violence like that.
No, but there's women who are like, fucking strap it up.
Go get him, Tiger.
Yeah.
Rehash that line. Why not? Get that line back in there. What a great line that was.
You do the math.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just be every. Don't go there.
Show me the money.
Talk to the hand.
What a terrible movie we created.
Oh, yeah, we just made it. Yeah.
I'm not going to see this fighting movie that I'm directing.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful.
Yeah. All right. Show me what you got.
Yeah.
Well, we do want to mention.
We all blanked on. All right.
We do want to mention too that, like we said, Indoor Kids will be in LA Podfest. We want to mention that if you can't make it to LA Podfest, the tickets are on sale. We will be having the streaming and archive tickets on sale very soon.
The live streaming will be literally by the end of this week,
We're
Brian.
doing tickets for the live streaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because not everybody can do it.
Right.
That's amazing.
And one of the things we want to point out, too, is if you're a fan of a certain podcast, that's actually how the podcasts get paid. You use their coupon code. You'll get $5 off the price, but the podcaster will actually get a taste of that.
Ooh.
So
coupon code Indoor Kids.
Indoor Kids, babies. Come watch us. We look better.
I think it's going to be indoor, I think is the code.
Yeah, it usually is.
Yeah.
Our codes are usually indoor.
Just indoor.
And then people always think it's indoor, ENDOR. And I'm like, come on, we're not a Star Wars podcast. Get over yourselves. What are you doing? Also, why would you call it the Indoor Kids like that? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, we're named after Wet Hot American Summer. Anyway.
Cool. So yeah, guys, go to lapodfest.com if you can make it for tickets, and there's still, of course, discounted hotel rooms. But then again, the live pay-per-view video stream will be on sale in the next week or so, and we will announce that.
Can I ask you guys a question about the LA Podfest?
Yes.
How much sex do you think is had that weekend? Because I know the times that I've been, it's just like podcast nerds of all stripes, and they are hooking
Throwing
up.
down.
They do throw down and hook up.
They are,
for sure.
It's a sexy time. Everybody's having fun.
Yeah. No one's like, what's a podcast?
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
They don't have to spend any time explaining
Who they are. That's
Yeah.
100% true. You know, people get so laid that weekend.
Oh, are you kidding me?
yeah.
I've had fans like one was like, hey, like a lady came up and was like, Graham, can you give me like, I don't know, she wanted like drink tickets or something. Like, I'm working this guy. I was like,
there you go. Do
I'm
it.
not going to cock block anybody.
Come to it. You will get laid. You won't get that live streaming.
You're going to get
You have to come. And then you will come.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. You guys feel free to use that slogan if you want.
We should put that on the website. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it again. Sorry.
Yep, free parties and sex, guys. Come on out to LA Podfest.
Bring your own sound effects.
Bring your own sound effects. Be your sex sound effects.
Sounds of sex? No. All right, we're
Make it a
done.
nap. All right, well, that's our episode, you guys. So fun. Emily V. Gordon, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you and your podcast on the internet?
I'm at The Gynomite on Twitter. It's TheGynomite, Gynomite. I am the Indoor Kids. You can find at Indoor Kids on Twitter. We're on the Nerdist Network. So we come out every Monday. The Meltdown with Jonah and Kumail, you can watch, right now we're on Comedy Central every Tuesday night at midnight. So
Is there going to be a season 2?
with season 2's airing right now, baby.
Oh, how about a season 3?
I don't know yet. I don't know. But season 2 right now, after at midnight, technically Wednesday morning. Don't be a nerd. It's 12:30. I get it. It's technically Tuesday night though. And I have a book coming out in October called Super You that you can pre-order on Amazon.com.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, well, if you order her book on Amazon.com, go through the link on comedyfilmnerds.com.
Yes.
Everyone's getting a taste.
Everybody gets some.
It's like Podfest.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting some.
Make the money go in a circle.
Yeah.
I was talking about sex party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or have a sex party at Podfest. Whatever.
We will sponsor it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We will get, if we could make $1 off of it,
Yeah.
we will.
Yeah.
No, that's what you're going to be live streaming.
We would have an affiliate sex party.
Yeah, so we'll get a coupon code for we'll call it Nerd Throwdown.
I think nerd porn is a really great idea, like actual nerds having sex with each other. Ooh, nobody wants to watch that. Anyway.
I was debating like, oh, no one wants to watch that, or should I buy the URL?
Yeah.
Hashtag nerd porn.
Don't take it. No one steal that.
All right, that's our show. This Sunday, July 26th, I will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma with Doug Benson.
Nice.
He and I haven't been on the road in a while. And then, of course, I will be in beautiful, the Improv in Lake Tahoe, August 19th through the 23rd. And other stuff is happening.
We've got some upcoming banked shows that will be dropping soon. In fact, it's funny, we get emails and tweets now asking about the Rick Myers episode because we record one at Comic-Con every
the Rick Myers
year.
one that we recorded at Comic-Con, that'll drop in August,
Yep.
and the Gilbert Gottfried one.
Yeah, and we have a Gilbert Gottfried one coming up too.
Those will both drop in August when Chris is on vacation.
Yes.
So yeah, check that out. Also headlining the Hollywood Improv August 29th. It's a 10 o'clock show. It's a Saturday, the 29th. And
Nice.
Boom! And then Podfest September 18th through the 20th, and then the preview night going to be at the Improv Thursday, September 17th.
Yes.
So we were going to that lineup will probably go on the website in a little bit. We're ironing that out. But just so you know, if you have a festival pass for the whole weekend and you are in LA,
You get an extra night.
Get an extra night. If you live in LA, you could come to that and buy your pass there or buy it online, whatever. So
that's a great deal.
You check it out. Come by. That's our show, you guys. Of course, like us on all of the Twitters and the Facebooks and Instagrams.
Support the store. We have a lot of Comedy Film Nerds books just came in, so those are signed. You can check those out. And of course, I have my book, Pacify Me, a Handbook for the Freaked Out New Dad, and I signed, and I will personalize that for you as well.
Yeah. So after you either knock up or get knocked up at Podfest, then
buy a book.
We will take care of you.
Yeah.
No matter what, every stage of sex you're in.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thank you once again, Emily, for being on the program. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember,
Han shot first.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew. I couldn't resist doing one more.